evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. An Iranian oil tanker is said to have hit in the Red Sea. NATO Secretary-General urges Ankara to exercise restraint in its incursion into northeast Syria. And the Ethiopian Prime Minister wins the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition of his efforts to end his country's two-decade-long border conflict with Eritrea. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos sent a cable of greetings to His Majesty King Felipe VI of Spain on his country's National Day. Iranian media said an Iranian oil tanker was struck probably by missiles in the Red Sea off Saudi Arabia coast today in an incident, if confirmed, will stoke tension in the region, rattled by attacks on tankers and oil sites since May. The Sabiti was hit in the morning about 96 kilometers from the Saudi port of Jeddah. The national Iranian tanker company said the ship was damaged, but now heading to the Gulf, denying reports it was set ablaze. Iranian state media earlier reported that the tanker was set ablaze, suffered heavy damage, and crude had leaked after it was struck in the morning. NATO's Secretary-General is urging Ankara to exercise restraint in its incursion into northeast Syria, though he acknowledges what he says is Turkey's legitimate security concern about the Syrian Kurdish fighters. Jens Stoltenberg also expressed his worry that Turkey's offensive launched earlier this week may jeopardize gains made against the Daesh group in the war in Syria. Stoltenberg spoke in a joint news conference with Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu today in Istanbul, where he arrived as part of a regional visit that also took him to Rome and Athens. Meanwhile, a French official said that sanctions against Turkey will be on the table at the next week's European Union summit after the country's incursion into Syria. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has warned that he will send millions of refugees into Europe if there is any backlash against his military cross-border operation in Syria. The European Union said it has agreed with the United Kingdom to intensify Brexit negotiations in a belated attempt to reach a divorce deal ahead of October 31st, when Britain is scheduled to leave the bloc. The EU announcement came after EU Council President Donald Tusk vowed that the 27 nations would make another push for a deal following a constructive meeting between the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his Irish counterpart Leo Varadkar. EU negotiator Michel Barnier and Brexit Secretary Stephen Barclay already laid the groundwork for intensified talks earlier this week. Economists say a no-deal Brexit would hurt both the UK and the EU economies. Johnson has insisted that Britain will leave the EU at the end of the month, regardless of whether there is a deal or not. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed won the Nobel Peace Prize for 2019 in recognition of his efforts to end his country's two-decade border conflict with Eritrea. The Norwegian Nobel Institute today also praised the important reforms that Abiy, Ethiopia's leader since April 2018, has launched at home. The award, the 100th Nobel Peace Prize, reflects the committee's taste for trying to encourage works in progress. In a call with the Nobel Committee, Abiy laid out his hope that the award will be taken positively by other African leaders to work on the peace-building process on their continent. 43-year-old Abiy took office after widespread protests pressured the long-time ruling coalition and hurt one of the world's fastest-growing economies. A highway bridge collapsed in Jiangsu province in eastern China yesterday, trapping cars underneath in the rubble. The accident occurred in Wuxi City, about 100 kilometers northwest of Shanghai. At least 2 cars were completely crushed under a large section of the collapsed bridge below a truck that had been driving over the bridge. In February 2018, at least 8 people died in downtown Foshan, Guangdong province when a water leak inside a subway station construction site caused a major road to cave in. Still to come on News Bulletin. Astronomers now spotted 20 new moons orbiting the giant ring planet Saturn, bringing its total count to 82. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. As part of its role in raising awareness about tourism, the Ministry of Tourism, represented by Tourism Directorate in the Governorate of Dakhiliya, organized an awareness program. It targeted school and university students and people concerned with the sector. It highlighted the importance of tourism sector and job opportunities that it offers in the Sultanate. It also offered ways to deal with the tourists and the importance of adhering to the national values and principles. A celebration was organized in the Governorate of Dhahira to mark the Gulf Day for school hygiene and youth health. It aimed to disseminate and enhance the culture of practicing physical activities and adopting healthy lifestyles. The event also discussed the impacts of social media channels on youth in school students. It included competitions among participating students and drawing and theatrical shows related to the main theme of the celebration. Saturn is now being recognized as the moon king of our solar system, with astronomers spotting 20 more of them orbiting around the giant ringed planet, bringing its total count to 82, 3 more times than Jupiter. The newly identified small moons, ranging from about 3 to 6 kilometers in diameter, were detected using Subaru telescope in Hawaii by a research team led by astronomer Scott Shepard of the Carnegie Institution for Science in Washington. One of the moons orbit at an astounding distance of about 24 million kilometers from Saturn, farther away than any of the other moons. By comparison, Earth moons orbit about 386,000 kilometers from the planet. 17 of the newly detected Saturn moons are orbiting in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation. The other 3 orbit in the same direction Saturn spins, as they typically should. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over most of the governorates, with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the coast of the Arabian Sea and the Sea of Oman. Partly cloudy skies are expected over the governorate of Musandam, with chances of scattered rainfall over Al Hajar Mountains. Winds will be southeasterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. An Iranian oil tanker is said to have hit in the Red Sea. NATO Secretary-General urges Ankara to exercise restraint in its incursion into northeast Syria. And the Ethiopian Prime Minister wins the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition of his efforts to end his country's two-decade-long border conflict with Eritrea. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching and have a good night.